What's up, dinguses? My name is Jerry Bees. It has been a long road to get here, but we are finally here. There is not a single Taylor Swift album that I have been recommended to more in my personal life and since I have started the Straight White Male Reacts to Every Taylor Swift Album journey other than Folklore. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to expect. Well, because if you haven't been here, the whole goal of this journey is to see the evolution of the world's biggest pop star, and evolved she has. Taylor Swift is one of the most famous patrons of evolution, right? And we've seen her go from country to country pop crossover to kind of a little bit of everything, and the complete 80s kind of revival pop stuff with 1989 and, well, whatever fun we were having with Reputation, right? And it seemed as though with Lover, the last album before Folklore, it was kind of a return to form in some regards, right? Like the song Lover sounded like something that I hadn't really heard since Speak Now or something like that. And maybe it's just the art direction of this album or how acclaimed it is and how just in the regard in which people hold this album, right? I don't know what to expect other than from what I've read in the foreword for this album. It seems as though Taylor Swift has called the prologues, some of the context for each album prologues. But this one, I looked up Folklore prologue and it just gave me the foreword. So this one's called a foreword. I think we are in store for the first true Taylor Swift concept album. Because I could make the argument that Red was a loose concept album, right? About her, relationship at the time and how, especially in the Taylor's version, that 10-minute version of All Too Well kind of ties everything up together. And outside of probably the very first album, the first debut, 1989 was the most cohesive album sonically speaking in terms of this is a revisitation to some of the sounds from the 80s with some modern production, as it were, right? But this one, she's talking about scenes that she's kind of making up in her head based off of people that she knows, doesn't know, will never know, wish she wouldn't know. And this came out in the summer of 2020, so I don't know how much of this album was written during maybe the pandemic, because she mentions that her imagination was running wild while isolated. So I don't know necessarily how to interpret that. I'm trying to line up the timeline there. Okay, so it was written in 2 to 3 months. So that's a very quick turnaround. And with that, I'm actually not sure how to look at this going forward. It seems as though this is, when I've told people in my personal life that, like, yeah, I'm going through all the Taylor Swift albums, they'll go, have you listened to Folklore yet? Like, that was the first thing anybody would say. So to seem that it's, such an acclaimed album, especially in the fan base, and, well, just for anybody else who's given a crack at Taylor Swift, this should be interesting. This should be interesting. But before we go any further, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to be a part of one of these streams, please click one of the links down in the description. If you find yourself way too busy to join one of my live streams, go ahead and click my Patreon link down in the description, where for $1 a month, you get full unrequited access to all of my past album reactions. And for anybody who is looking to follow me for the rest of the Taylor Swift series, I am putting a Google form down in the description for you to recommend me some of the Taylor Swift that I've missed, right? So nothing that I have looked at before that are on any of the albums that I've listened to on Spotify or any of the Taylor's versions, just some stuff that I've missed along the way, because I will be reacting to those once I'm done with Tortured Poets Department. So if you want to make sure that I listen to your favorite Taylor Swift live performance, or I guess maybe I'll open that up to Taylor Swift clips, I'll be taking some of the most popular submissions from that. So go ahead and fill out that Google form. So yeah, given that this is seemingly like one of the strongest cases for her making a concept album, I tend to look at all albums through a narrative lens. I think there might even be something bad about how I analyze things. So I'm always looking for narrative throughout an entire album, so to speak. So this might be one of the easiest ones so far, given that I think I'm picking up what it's trying to lay down just from the forward. But we'll see how wrong I am. I tend to bite my own. God damn it. I tend to eat my own words, so to speak, right? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Folklore Deluxe Version by Taylor Swift from 2020. The first song, The One. Let's get it.
I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit. Been saying yes instead of no. I thought I saw you at the bus stop, I didn't though. I hit the ground running each night. I hit the Sunday matinee. You know the greatest films of all time were never made. Been fun if you would have been the one. I had this dream you're doing cool shit, having adventures on your own. You meet I guess you never know, never know. And it's another day waking up alone. But we were something, don't you think so? Roaring 20s, tossing pennies in the pool. And if my wishes came true, it would have been here different today. We were something, don't you think so? Rose flowing with your chosen family. And it would have been sweet if it could have been me. In my defense, I have none for digging up the grave another time. But it would have been fun if you would have been the one. Ooh.
Okay. So, lyrically here, it seems as though, there's some anguish, there's some tumult about something that has not been, or something that has been and isn't anymore. So, knowing kind of from what I've read off the forward, it does seem as though we're going to find maybe the story of that going forward. Not to use the word forward again, but I just used the word forward again. Production-wise, I loved the absolute shit out of this. It's layered with, those kind of like electronic beeps in the background. I don't know. That did a lot for me because we're just using acoustic instruments besides that. And it just kind of added another layer. And I don't know. It's a slower song, and her voice absolutely ruled on this. I think, outward, I don't think, Taylor Swift does have a good voice, but that's not necessarily that's not the attraction, right? It's a little bit of everything. It's the personality, it's the songwriting style and all that. And then, for, all of my Jack Antonoff lovers out there, that might be another reason. And it's a blend of all these different things. But I thought her voice really, really, really shined in this one. The one where her voice was good. No. Just kidding. Okay, so this is not Jack. This is Aaron. Oh, Aaron Dessner's back. Hello, Aaron. Hello. Nice to meet you again. Hope you've been well. Well, yeah, I'm familiar with some of Aaron's other stuff though. I knew that he was going to be a part of this at some point. Okay. So both Jack and Aaron are on this. Actually, that's okay. Knowing that, because that makes a ton of sense. Knowing Aaron's other work, and then on top of this and just the way that it sounded, I'm like, okay, that just fits so well together. So we're moving on here, folks. Cardigan.
Then Vintage tea, brand new phone, high heels on, cobblestones. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. But I knew you, dancing in your Levi's, drunk under a street light. I knew you, hand under my sweatshirt, baby, kiss it better. And when I felt like I was an old cardigan, was the one. When you are young, they assume you know nothing. But I knew you, playing hide and seek and giving me your weekends. I said I was your favorite. To kiss in cars like water ride. And when you are young, they assume you know nothing. But I knew you'd linger like a tattoo kiss. I knew you'd haunt all over my what ifs. The smell of smoke would hang around this long. 'Cause I knew everything when I was young. I knew I'd curse you for the longest time. An old cardigan under someone's bed. You put me on and said I was your favorite.
God. Okay, so so the first thing I'm gonna do is do one of these for the production so far. I don't know what it is about her, and I'm assuming that this is another Aaron one, or I don't even care. It doesn't matter. This sound is working so much for me with her. The vocal delivery reminds me of what little Lana Del Rey I've listened to, and that's a compliment. You might like Taylor Swift more, you might like Lana Del Rey more. That's what I'm getting here, and it's the production backs it up, and I probably will have to get into Lana Del Rey a little bit more. So if you want me to listen to Lana Del Rey, comment down below. Because it operates in this kind of dream pop kind of way, and considering just where we came from the first song, kind of like recalling back to something, it's maybe like that's the thing you see in movies where maybe memories are like a little bit hazy, like they put a haze on the camera. That's what it's giving me here. Now, this is, maybe a young love kind of thing, and I'm getting it. This is like the only line, and maybe I'm overanalyzing it too, because I am looking for narrative here, and after reading the foreword, I could be looking into narrative that doesn't exist here, but I see that chase two girls, lose the one. So did this, assuming that this is coming from the perspective of her, like a female character, he left somebody to be with this person? So I don't know. Yeah, I got it. Okay, cool. Hey, air horns. All right. No, because I'm worried, because there's a lot of you, and I want you. You got it wrong. You're getting folklore. So yeah, I'm really liking this so far. I think in a way, because the last, and actually, I don't think Lover was maybe as strong as some of the albums beforehand. Like I said, it was a good return to form, and I think especially on I Speak Now and Fearless, some of the slower songs didn't affect me that well, but I'm hoping we get more of whatever the fuck this is in here, because I think she does the hard pop stuff really, really well. Again, I'm looking for an evolution. I'm looking for trying new things, how to represent yourself as an artist, and so far this is going okay. The Last Great American Dynasty.
To the Standard Oil name and money, and the town said, how did a middle class divorcee do it? The wedding was charming, if a little gauche. There's only so far new money goes. They picked out a home and sweetest woman this town has ever seen. She had a marvelous time ruining everything. Rebecca gave up on the Rhode Island set forever. Who knows if she never showed up, what could have been? There goes the most shameless woman this town has ever seen. She had a marvelous time ruining everything.
Okay, so I am going to pause it and I'll go back a little bit, mainly to stop myself just for a second in terms of how I'm processing the quote-unquote narrative of this album. You know, there's times where I think there's times where you're going through a narrative of an album and you're keeping it focused to maybe the central characters. Just one that just comes to the top of my mind, like American Idiot is a great one, yet, you know, American Idiot kind of goes through a couple different characters, you know, where, Jesus of Suburbia, Saint Jimmy, you know, might be the two main characters, but I think there's little vignettes of, maybe just describing a setting or something like that. I think, you know, and if we're using American Idiot as an example, Boulevard of Broken Dreams is a perfectly, okay, this is kind of the setting of it. I don't know if this is necessarily part of what we just saw before with, you know, like, okay, somebody fell in love or two people fall in love, but, you know, somebody, you know, walked away from somebody else for that to happen. I don't know if this is congruent with that or is just like it's another piece of the world. It's world building. It's a different story. Okay, god damn, I'm fucking good at this shit. Okay, actually that's kind of an important thing to say. So Fine Line says not all the songs are connected, not all of them fictional. Okay, so thank you very much. Yeah, I'm getting like you know, I've never seen the show, but I've been getting the clips on YouTube. Subscribe if you've ever gotten clips of a TV show you've never seen on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. I'm getting like Boardwalk Empire, Jersey Shore, New England kind of vibes there. Especially, you know, I'm gonna say losing on card game bets with Dali. I'm just gonna say that it's Salvador Dali. I'm pretty sure that's Dali. Call me a dumbass down below if I'm wrong on that. But you know, like Standard Oil. That's a Carnegie thing, is it not? Standard Oil, Carnegie? Oh, the Rockefellers. It was the Rockefellers, right? I think Carnegie's did the railroads. Anyway, there is one word that she's used, and it's the first time that she's used a word that I don't know what the hell it means. Gosh? Gosh. Gauche. Lacking ease or grace. Okay, so that made a little sense in the context of it. You know, the wedding was charming if a little gosh. Gauche, Laurel.
She had a marvelous time ruining everything. Years is a long time. Holiday house side, quietly on that beach, free of women with madness, the men in bad habits, and then it was bought by me. I'm ruining everything. I had a marvelous time ruining everything. A marvelous time.
Did she just tell the story of a lady who used to live in the house that she bought? Is that it? Is that what I'm getting here? All right. No, that's cute. Yeah. Especially to, you know, and you know, assuming that all this is true. Do we know the name? Was it a Rockefeller? Or was she married to somebody in the Rockefeller names? Betty Harkness, composer, socialite, sculptor, philanthropist, who founded Harkness Ballet. Well then, okay, born in St. Louis. Okay, yeah, okay. maybe research for another day, but hey, that's fun storytelling there, especially, you know, as you're kind of setting up this scene, and then you know, you kind of give that 1-2 punch at the end and just kind of pull the rug out, like, oh yeah, by the way, I own this now. Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since she's kind of thrown out a twist like that at the end of a song. There is precedent. However, specific examples kind of escape me. That kind of brought me back to when I was a much younger man of, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago whenever I started this. Yeah, and then production-wise, not maybe as interesting as some of the other two have been, right? Because this is the third track, right? Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get on with it. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, and I liked the I liked the approach there. Exile featuring Bon Iver.
I can see you standing, honey, with his arms around your body, laughing but the joke's not funny at all. My homeland anymore, so what am I defending now? You were my town, now I'm in exile, seeing you out.
Real quick, his voice is absolutely outstanding there. I've only listened to the most popular of Bon Iver tracks, and I don't know if that's how his voice is usually mixed or if he sings that low. I can't recall ever hearing a Bon Iver song where his voice is that low, but it's just hugging my eardrums right now, and it's great.
I can see you staring, honey, like he's just your understudy, like he'd get your knuckles bloody for me. Second, third, and 100, and I didn't like the ending. I'm not your problem anymore. So who am I offending now? You were my crown, now I'm in exile, seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before.
We always walked a very thin line. You didn't even hear me out. You never gave a warning sign.
I gave so many
All this
signs.
time, I never learned to read your
Never
mind.
learned to read my
I couldn't turn
mind.
things
Never
around,
turn things
'cause you
around.
never.
I think I've seen this film before, so I'm leaving out the side door.
So step right out. There is no amount of crying I can do for all this time.
Many times, so many times, so many times.
Just never give a warning sign.
I know Wicked's out for all the people who really can't get enough of musicals. And I got like big musical vibes out of this one just because like it's like so dramatic and it climbs in such a way and it ended like fairly dramatic there. I don't know. Dramatic in the sense of how it just kind of builds up and simmers us back down there. Narratively here, the only thing I'm kind of grabbing from what we've gotten so far is this may be, I don't know, like a looking back into, maybe a before Cardigan scene where maybe that guy and his lady that he left the new lady for in Cardigan are kind of talking. That's just kind of where my mind's going right now. You're telling me, no, I'm stupid. No, wrong. Not related. But could be. I'll leave it up to all possibilities, and then as we continue, maybe I can go. I can kind of reassess after that, right? Jerry has created some great theories. Let him cook. I agree. Let me cook. But yeah, I'm just really enjoying how subdued this is, especially like considering like the past. Red wasn't subdued. 1989 wasn't subdued. Reputation was not subdued. I think we got some moments out of Lover that kind of word. But I'm really, really liking the approach to this project. And then I think just the dueling voices there, just Bon Iver had such a kick-ass voice in that one. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get to track 5. Let's see what that is. My Tears Ricochet, track 5.
We gather here, we line up, weeping in a sunlit room. And if I'm on fire, you'll be made of ashes too. Even on my worst. And if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake? Cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricochet. We gather stones, never knowing what they'll mean. Some to throw, some to make a diamond ring. You know I did it at the wake, cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricochet. And I can go anywhere I want, anywhere I want, just not home. And you can aim for my heart, go for blood, but you would still miss me in your bones. And I still talk to you when I'm screaming in the sky. And when you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen lullaby.
Why'd she go ahead and do that right there? Man, no, that's an appropriate place to pause. I got to collect myself after that one. Her voice went so high up right there. And I think that's a logical place because you know, we might be getting into the next movement here. It could be going up even higher. You know, again, this subdued approach to the album as a whole, which I feel as though we're kind of leading up to, you know, where this is kind of the paint in which this album is kind of colored in. You know, it started out kind of slow, and I was going to say, you know what, this one's really not grabbing me as much between the music and maybe the lyrics, which we'll get into here in a second. But you know, that kick drum comes in, and I'm like, okay, all right, where are you going to take me here? Yeah, and if that's the top of it, that's just, you know, just for her voice. I don't know what it is, man. Like, in the 5 songs we've listened to so far, her voice is like kicked in a ton. Now, so far with the track 5, these are her most personal, you know, if not emotional songs, right? Ones that she kind of, you know, holds pretty close to herself. So I don't know if this one's necessarily falling into maybe the narrative that we've set aside for ourselves here so far, just because like some of it doesn't kind of make any sense. Well, I mean, no, I guess it can. Oh, there's a song about Scooter Dickhead. Okay. That's all you had to say. Scooter Dickhead. You know, hey, look, I wasn't even, you know, I had not even listened to hardly any Taylor Swift at all by the time all that news was coming out, and that, you know, she's trying to get all of her songs back and stuff like that. So, okay, so I guess that makes a lot of sense then that, you know, Stolen Lullabies was sung so emphatically there, you know, when you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen lullabies. Okay, that makes a ton of sense. And this is something I might eat my words on, but, you know, it's not that she's had a problem with going hog wild, except the only time I'll ever accept that argument is with Reputation, but I think that's why people love Reputation, is because she went so hog wild on it. That's why I had so much fun listening to Reputation. But I think, you know, especially with, you know, a song like this is about, you know, getting your songs and, you know, your master tapes, you know, held from you. She's showing a lot of restraint there because, you know, you could very easily just, you know, do like a Kanye diss track. No, not Kanye. You could do a whole, you know, Kendrick Lamar Drake diss track, but it works well sonically with what we're kind of jamming with here.
In myself to go with grace, and so the battle should kill me, but it killed you just the same. Cursing my name, wishing I stay. You turned into your worst.
You did this to yourself, bud. I am like just 100% for all artists owning everything they do. I have like almost zero sympathy for like people who are at the executive level or even like production level of the music industry. You know, like seriously. You know, hopefully, because a lot of the time you're just manipulating like young people who just want this dream, and you fucking know it. And you know it. So, Scooter Braun is the real smallest man who's ever lived. Well, not a ton of big, bouldery guys go by Scooter. You ever seen a club bouncer? And you go, Scooter, we got a problem. You know, I'm just expecting a little, you know, one of these. Hey, yo, this is my friend Scooter. Lorzop says, I don't really like that people say the song is about the Masters. I mean, it is, but it really reduces its message. It's about betrayal in general. And that's why I think the restraint comment that I made earlier still falls around with this, because it's, you know, it's not necessarily a diary. It's not necessarily a tell-all. You can extrapolate those meanings and find things that are going on in her life, as we often have with, you know, other projects. But they're written in such a way to where you can kind of put your own, you know, you can kind of dip your own toes in. Mirrorball. Sorry, I'm watching Lord of the Rings right now. What is that ball called? I don't know. It's, you know, Saruman's, you know, pondering his orb. I'm sure hobbits would love this album. All right, Mirrorball.
Tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love. Want you to know I'm a mirror ball. I can change everything about me to fit in you. Oh, my dear, you'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. Hush, I know they said the end's for you, and they called off the circus, burned the disco down, when they sent home the horses and the rodeo clowns. I'm still on that tightrope, I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me. Of yourself tonight.
I liked this one a lot. I think this one comes down to production. So I think someone said that this was Jack, and I think this was, I don't know, I haven't heard a Jack Antonoff song produced like this. She's giving like lo-fi indie here, and it doesn't waver once throughout the entire fucking song. And this is a style that suits her very well. She's done slow, she's done somber, she's done subdued. She's done a lot of subdued in this. I'm gonna keep saying subdued during this reaction, apparently. this one kind of separates itself a little bit from the other styles that she's kind of tried out. And I give, every credit in the world to any artist that, dips their toes into things just to say that they did it. You can find something else about yourself and how you view things, maybe going back to Reputation. A bridge too far for some people, maybe. But nonetheless, this is not Reputation. This is what this is. But it's not terribly different from anything she's done in the past. I think it's just how bright the guitar is. And I'm not usually talking about instrumentation in Taylor Swift songs. And I don't think that's really that's not the beacon to why we come to Taylor Swift most of the times. But here, everything is working really, really well. And I like some of the metaphors here, right? And is a mirror ball just a disco ball, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking like a disco ball, right? And tying that in, I'll show you every version of yourself tonight. Oh God, I like that quite a bit. Trying to get someone's attention. I can change everything about me to fit in. I really, really, really enjoyed the approach to this one. This one worked a lot. Narratively, I don't know where this fits into the album. Maybe we'll get some more nuance as we go along, and I try to find a place for this to sit in. And guys, keep in mind, throughout any of these reactions, I might come to it in a aha moment as I'm either editing or just as I spend more time with one particular album than, like any other. If it kind of stays with me a little bit, I go, oh, wait, no, that's actually how that works out. Or, oh, no, I can see the connection there. So not necessarily saying that this one fits in anywhere like that. I'm just saying as a standalone song, I like this a lot. So yeah, and we can even, extrapolate that, I think she's calling it out here, spinning on my highest heels, shining just for you, she's been performing since such a young age. And I think this goes for probably a lot of other people, man, who wanted to be on tour. And because that's the only way artists make any amount of money anymore. I buy their records where you can, but really it's going out and supporting them on the road. 7. Oh, it's the 7th track.
Please picture me in the trees. I hit my peak at 7, and I've been meaning to tell you, I think your house is haunted. Your dad is always mad, and that must be why. And I think you should come live with me, and we can be before I learn civility. I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted. I moved to India forever, passed down like folk songs. Our love lasts so long.
All right, so we'll obviously let it play out here. It's a fucking another one of those. It's another goddamn air horn. So really like the approach here. I like how the instruments come in we didn't really get a ton of drums at the beginning of the song, and then it kind of kicks in just a little bit to know that it's there, knowing that she grew up in Pennsylvania, and she's setting the scene. I hit my peak at 7, right? And it's the 7th track. Haha, funny, coinky dink. But, this is either, I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. Either this is a friend that she knows that she spent a lot of time with back in the day, or this, I kind of actually really like the fact that, I can't recall your face, so you can put anybody in this scenario and it would make sense. Because especially because she does this thing of making it very relatable in the sense of yes, that is exactly how kids think. I think your house is haunted. Your dad is always mad, and that must be why. Of course a kid is going to think that, especially a 7-year-old kid is going to think that. And also, how many times you go over your friends' houses back in the day and you were always afraid of the mom or the dad just because like the first time you ever saw them, they were like mean mugging or something, and that just like instant impression right there. Man, I will say, like, and obviously this one, it's weird how some of the songs kind of fit in, or I guess really only one of the two, or I guess two, arguably. I guess you guys told me I was wrong, but I'm gonna say headcanon and say two. But one or two songs that that kind of maybe fit this narrative, and then we got some that aren't. But so I guess lyric or thematic. No, not even thematically. What the fuck am I trying to say here? Narratively, it's not the most consistent thing in the world, but she's really, really living in this chill, indie, soft rock even kind of space that I am just really, really eating up here. If you think of the album as a literal folklore in various spaces, it is really cohesive. Okay, so, kind of going back to, I guess, folklore in the general sense of the word. Yeah, so I guess I maybe overlooked that, that undercurrent of, God, I just don't know if I could say that word on YouTube. I guess like childhood, if, folklore on childhood, and I guess, in this case, maybe some unsavory things. Why would you kind of have to hide in the closet? Maybe kids in unfortunate circumstances, August.
Salt air and the rust on your door. I never needed anything more, or whispers of "Are you sure?" Never have I ever before, but I can see it's lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time. Lost in the memory, August slipped away into a moment in time, 'cause it was never mine. And I can see us twisted in bed sheets. August sipped away like a bottle of wine, 'cause you were never mine. Remember when I pulled up and said get in the car, and then cancel my plans just in case you called. Like when I was living for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all.
Okay, so I know there's 20 seconds still left in the song, but I just gotta, they're leaving so much more room in this album for instrumentation, and it's not blowing me away, but it's like, it's how the atmosphere of the sounds are in this album at, like, setting a setting, like, just the atmosphere of it, right? I don't know. But, this one was a little bit more jammy than some of the other ones have been, a little bit closer to maybe some of the pop stuff. Was it right here? Where did it just drops everything and just really just gets the hell into things. I really love the vocal delivery right here.
But I can see it's lost in the memory. August slipped away into a moment in time.
That melody is just really, 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 really catchy. Which is kind of getting into some things here. I think that's kind of her standard delivery there, but I really do enjoy the melody there. Now, narratively, I'm pretty sure, okay, we're back at maybe the narrative here, so maybe this was the song that because I think it was what? So you can actually know, now that I'm thinking about it, my headcanon doesn't make any sense. My headcanon doesn't make any goddamn sense, so this is following Cardigan, right? Are we sure the one doesn't fit in? Are we sure the one doesn't fit into everything? The one fits in? The one's gotta fit in. So this is the other side, like, hey, And then, there's somebody going, hey, I guess I'll just graffiti behind the mall alone. You son of a bitch. Is that what I'm getting here? Is that what this is? Oh man, holy shit. Well, okay. And if, again, this is based off of Spotify listens, as far as maybe some of the best or most celebrated tracks, Cardigan and this one. So that would make sense there. If we're continuing that kind of narrative. So is it that, like, there's some songs that follow one narrative, but then everything else is just kind of a representation for the idea of folklore under this umbrella of, like, lo-fi subdued indie pop fusion? That would have been my Pitchfork review. This is me trying.
I've been having a hard time adjusting. I had the shiniest wheels, now they're rusting. I didn't know if you'd care if I came back. I have a lot of regrets about that. Pulled the car off the road to the lookout. Could have followed my They told me all of my cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential. And my words shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lot of regrets about that. I was so and it's hard to be at a party when I feel like an open wound. It's hard to be anywhere these days when all I want is you. You're a flashback and a film reel on the one screen in my town. And I just wanted you to know.
Okay, so she's kind of helping me out a little bit just because I'm like, okay, is this a continuation of the story? It doesn't really make, as far as this little folklore story that is only on some of the songs, but not all the songs. I don't think this one makes a ton of sense because I think this one is maybe Taylor's writing in the perspective of somebody. So either somebody's at Taylor's door saying, like, okay, like, this is like the best I can do right now to say, like, yeah, I'm kind of sorry for how I acted, or this is Taylor saying that to somebody else. All right. So this is about herself. Okay. Yeah. I guess in that sense, it's pretty cut and dry. It's not really doing it. It doesn't do a ton to differentiate itself from the rest of the album outside of the just the message here. I think this is obviously I think maybe whether or not it's romantic or not, just going up to somebody saying, like, hey, like, this is me trying here, like, here's where I was at fault, kind of a deal. Just remember, folks, your best is different on every day, right? If your battery's only at 25, your battery's only at 25. Your battery is sometimes 75 is good enough. Sometimes 75% is good enough. Seeing what help I'm getting from the chat. I do really like this line here. I was so ahead of the curve. The curve became a sphere. Just kind of like, I don't know, you were so ahead of the curve that you kind of came back to where you started. Maybe you kicked yourself in the butt, as you were continuing. The cool thing about these songs is that you can drive so many meanings for yourself there. And I think she's making that pretty apparent with songs that are kind of continuing on with, the Cardigan August narrative is what I'm going to call it now. Because I feel like those are a little less specific. Or those songs are more specific, like Cardigan and August I felt had a little bit more detail. Whereas, like this one you may be able to extrapolate some different kinds of meaning. Illicit affairs.
sure nobody sees you leave. Hood over your head, keep your eyes down. Ends with meetings in parking lots. And that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares. It's born from just one single glance, but it dies and it dies and it dies a million little times just for him. So you leave no trace behind, like you don't even exist. Take the words for what they are, a million little times. And you wanna scream, don't call me kid, don't call me baby. Look at this godforsaken nest that you taught me a secret language I can't speak with anyone else. And you know damn well, for you I would ruin myself a million little times.
Okay, so if we're going over the theme that, you know, I guess, you know, there's this one overarching narrative, and then, you know, there's just other like little vignettes, you know, that convey some other stories. And if we're going over this equation that we set, where the ones that have the overarching narrative, you know, the songs with the overarching narrative, they have a little bit more detail to them, maybe. And this one's quite a little bit general, so it doesn't fit in. But I don't care what any of you are going to say. Headcanon official. This is a song after August. This fits the story. I don't care what nobody says. You could be all agreeing with me, and I'm still I'm still proving all you wrong. I mean, how could it not be? I mean, you know, I will say, everything's been pretty subtle up until this point, and this one's just kind of, you know, at your face. This is what cheating is. This is, you know, this is how it makes you feel. Here are all of the faults therein, because I would ruin myself for you, but you know, you kind of did all that work for me there, you know. So it's not the most subtle thing. So I think how she's kind of been writing the lyrics, you know, it's like, okay, well, it's not consistent, but it still works. It still works. As far as, you know, the music, it fits in with the album just fine, but yeah, I think this is like maybe even like an epilogue to August in that regard. You support my rights and wrongs, Jerry. Thank you. You are wrong, but I don't care. Yes, I don't care either. I don't care that you think I'm wrong. So playing out, moving on. I just gotta know what happens next. Invisible string.
The color of the grass where I used to read at Centennial Park. And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me. Bad was the plot of the song in the cab on your first trip to LA.
Nice fourth wall break there.
You ate at my favorite spot for dinner. So pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me. Cold was the steel of my axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart.
You know, I let it play out there because, you know, there's nothing like insane about the instrumentation, but again, it's just a nice little like pocket that she's putting us into. And lyrically here, folks, this was just... It's a cute love song, everybody. It is a cute love song, and I do like this idea of, you know, I went through all this shit. I walked through blood and bone to get to you, as if we were already tied together, as if we were going to find each other, and it was all going to be worth it, and it all made sense. And obviously this is about a past relationship of hers, but one that was, in all relative speaking, quite successful, you know, relative to some others that she's been in. You know, Joe, right? Joe was the guy's name. I mean, probably still is. Probably still is his name. But regardless, and also, like, you know, this cute little, you know, bad was the blood of the song in your, you know, we got it. You know, we got it. There's enough to share. Just sans Kendrick Lamar this time, you know, Mad Woman.
Drive home, do you see my face in the neighbor's lawn? Does she smile, or does she mouth fuck you forever? Every time you call me crazy, you're getting more crazy. What about? And there's nothing like a man, woman.
What the hell is that quote? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I feel like that fits here quite well, and you know, that's just kind of the kind of the idea that we're operating here, folks. And I'll say this, right? I'm sure we've all met some crazy people, but I think it's even important for me, you know, the all too famous straight white male. There's a lot of us. Use the word crazy sparingly, right? Because too often, I feel women get called crazy way too often, right? And that desaturates the effect of the word for when you find a woman that is crazy. Because then it becomes like a boy cried wolf kind of thing, right? Because it's like, oh, well, you know, that's all. I'm like, no. I grew up next to some real crazy neighbors. I'll just put it that way. I won't put them on blast. They are private individuals. But this is just all to say that, you know, you got to use those words sparingly. I think it desaturates it, and then it also just adds to the whole idea that, like, well, you know, I'm just gonna discredit you because, you know, you're crazy, right? So, oh yeah, maybe when I hit 1 million subscribers, I can tell you guys all about my crazy ass neighbors and what they've done. Now. Also, I will say this, and this goes for everybody, despite gender. People can do crazy things, but that doesn't make them crazy. It's also a very relative term. I want to make that apparent, right? So you can do something crazy and go, wow, that's crazy. I don't think that necessarily makes somebody crazy. You got to put sample size. You really have to add sample size to this. Moving on here, folks. Moving on with the rest of Mad Woman. So I'm asking. Okay, so I'm officially asking for help. Who is this? Who's this one about? Oh, Kim and Kanye. Okay, all right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, which, like, I get. You know, if you're Kim, you wanna defend your mans, but like sometimes you just got to take the Melania Trump route. Like, Melania, what did you think? Kind of plant her flag down there and say, like, I am hearing everything you guys are talking about, and you know, this is my platform. If I'm gonna say something, this is how I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna put it on another #1 album just because I'm me, and that's what's gonna happen. So, Epiphany. Oh wait, I just had a great idea.
Bleeding out, and some things you just can't speak about. With you I serve, with you I fall down, down. Watch you breathing, watch you breathing out, out. Something med school did not cover. Someone's daughter, someone's mother. I serve, with you I fall down, down. Watch you breathing, watch you breathing out, out. Only 20 minutes to sleep, but you dream of some epiphany. Just one single glimpse of relief to make some sense of what you see.
Okay. Okay. So, before I look at the chat here, we're getting like a storming the beaches of Normandy kind of vibe here. But I don't know what the fuck this one's about. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's something. Is it a metaphor for war? I don't know. Giving up. Soldiers and healthcare workers fighting in the front lines. I think that's a really succinct way of putting it. Just gonna call you Nat there, Nat. Thank you for that. Yeah, and that is something. You know, you survive a war just to either die of old age or, considering that this may have been during 2020, that could make sense. That could make a lot of sense there. Yeah. Now we're back to some real subtlety here, folks. And I know that, some YouTube comments point out like, oh, the chat's ruining it. I think a big part about, the allure of Taylor Swift is that there is so much lore, and then there's so many of these other, little details to where that's what kind of makes it fun. And if you don't get it on first glance, either you can kind of stem your own meaning from it, which goes for any other song, or, you got the entire Swiftie community out there to kind of hold your hand with that. And this one wasn't one that I could kind of just put myself into and kind of relate to. This was one where I'm like, okay, this is very oddly specific, and I'm not really catching the beats here, but subtle in the best ways after knowing that kind of explanation. It just sucks when they spoil something before you have time to cook. Well, that's why I stopped looking at the chat during these streams. At least until I'm ready to look in and talk to you guys. Trust me, I know. Oh, a little Bobby Dylan harmonica.
Betty, I won't make assumptions about why you switched your homeroom, but I think it's 'cause of me. As most times, but this time it was true. The worst thing that I ever did was what I did to you. But But if I just showed up at your party, would you have me? Would you want me? Would you tell me to go fuck myself, or lead me to the garden in the party? Would you have me? Would you want me? Would you tell me to go fuck myself, or lead me to the garden in the garden? Would you trust me if I told you it was just a summer thing? I'm only 17, I don't know anything, but I know I miss you.
So Betty's her name. Okay. All right. We're going back to this little Degrassi arc. That's right, kids. Folklore by Taylor Swift is just a Degrassi arc. Maybe a little bit more ABC Family-ish, right? The Secret Life of the. So it seems, so she's just like the quiet punk kid on her skateboard, and got jelly of one of her best gal pals, and was like, shit, I'm gonna move in, and was like, oh wait, no, this is an opportunity for me to learn from doing my friend dirty. Is that about it? This is from the boy's perspective. Okay, hold on. All right, so it's a punk dude. All right. So it's a punk guy. All right. I do love this little detail about Inez, like the school Jabberjaw, and like, okay, yeah. So this is the one time it was true. I'm just kind of reading the lyrics now that I know this is apparently from the dude's perspective here. Okay, well I guess there's some more to get into. I don't know. Maybe I just really liked the idea of a punk lady in a Taylor Swift song, and that's just where like my mind went immediately. Guys, James could be a girl, except I think they've said he in some of the past songs there. So so obviously thank you for the hand holding there a little bit. Did we get the names? Because I wouldn't, I don't know. Typical guy blaming the girl for cheating. Yep, that's me. We'll continue on here.
I was walking home on broken cobblestones, just thinking of you when she pulled up like a figment of my worst. And Betty, I'm here on your doorstep, and I planned it out for weeks now, but it's finally sinking in. Betty, right now is the last time I can dream about what happens when you see my face again. The only thing I wanna do is make it. Yeah, I showed up at your party. Will you have me?
Key change.
Will you kiss me on the porch in front of her again? Stopped at a street light, I miss you.
Okay, so then there's the callback to the Cardigan, and then just let me see here. So this is the 14th song, 8th, so that's August, then Cardigan. Okay, I do really appreciate that. She's trying to tell the story over the album in between like other vignettes of her life, or maybe some fictitious things, or so on and so forth, right? I think it'd be a little bit easier just overall, right, to kind of digest it for the first time listener if like all three songs were kind of together in like one movement, like a part 1, part 2, part 3, right, one after the other. However, I just looked to see how many songs are spaced out in between. So we get Cardigan as the second song, Cardigan as the first song in this story, right? August as the second song at track number 8, then track number 14. And so, the difference between 8 and 2 is 6, 14 and 8, that's also 6. So I'm just thinking like, oh, okay, well, at least like, are they evenly spaced out? Like she's not just throwing these in there haphazardly. So at least they're placed in there pretty symmetrically. That's what I'm talking about. So like maybe we're not done because I like even even like I said, illicit affairs kind of seeps into that, even though it is so general. But I think it carried on from August very well. Even though it does have This Is Me trying as a buffer, but that's just me. Those are my thoughts there. So at least they are spaced out pretty symmetrically in that regard. So this album sounds just so consistent overall, and I think it is a breath of fresh fucking air, especially that song, because it took me right back to the debut and Fearless, and maybe even a little bit of Speak Now. Like that song in particular, and the harmonica sent that home for me. So, and I really haven't made a comment, and as we're getting closer to the end of the album here, I'll make some comments about where songs kind of fit in better. And because it all sound like it's so consistent, there isn't a ton of differentiation between tracks here, by the way that they sound, at least on first listen, right? I would have said, like, I think I would have appreciated the 3 of those. And actually 4, because I think Illicit Affairs really seeps into that. Or you put Illicit Affairs at the end of it. Right? Just kind of like, okay, here's the lesson we've learned, folks. Illicit Affairs, James cheated with Inez. Peace.
Of age is come and gone. Suddenly this summer it's clear. I never had the courage of my convictions, as long as danger is near. And it's just around the corner, darling, 'cause it lives in me. No, I could never give, but I would die for you in secret. The devil's in the details, but you got a friend in me. Would it be enough if I could never give you peace? Your integrity makes me seem small. You paint dreamscapes on the wall. I talk shit with my friends. It's like I'm wasting your honor. See your brother as my brother. Is it enough? But there's robbers to the east, clowns to the west. I'd give you my sunshine, give you my best, but the rain is always gonna come if you're standing with me. Tales, but you got a friend in me. Would it be enough if I could never give you peace? Would it be enough if I could never give you peace? Would it be enough if I could never give you peace?
So this one might have an alternative meaning, but I'm going to go out a limb and say that is this one from James's perspective again? Because that makes a little bit more sense, whether or not he's... because, yeah, I know, like, the last song was he's like, okay, like Betty, here are all the things, and he's not really having the conversation with her. This one feels like as if they eventually had that conversation. Now, this is about Taylor and Joe. I might headcanon you guys out of that one. It's about Sad Boy Joe. Yeah, I might headcanon you guys out of this one. I need to let the love triangle go. Well, I think even in those songs where I've kind of gone like, whether this is headcanon or this just makes more sense to me, I think that she's writing all of these songs around maybe that narrative to where, at least to me, it's really kind of speaking towards that, or at least that same kind of energy, like, maybe feeling maybe a little bit of guilt for what you've done, or that you're trying to make amends from something, and I think given song placement, given that this is on the latter half of the album, thematically this works really well for where it's coming in, from where we've come in the love triangle story. again, I think she's done a really good job with subtlety on this album, especially with Epiphany, because I was just completely at a loss for that one. And I saw everybody going, no. But I don't know. To me, it makes a little bit of sense. At least spiritually, it seems as though it'd be connected there. We're throwing out your cooking here, Jerry. She said it's about the difficulty of being in the spotlight and in a relationship, and then Aaron and his depression showing up in relationships. I was just about to say something. You got to take a page out of the Dolly Parton book there, ladies and gentlemen. Because Dolly Parton has been like with her husband for like 60 years or something. And he just runs a hardware store. And he's just like the chillest dude. And she's like, yeah, no, he's just a private individual. You know, he's just hanging out. He likes his little way of life. The love triangle is not the main focus of Folklore, just a part of it. Folklore is a collection of stories. I can see that, but I don't tear outside of the subtlety in how she's writing some of these songs in this. I feel like this is some of the best songwriting she's had. But as far as like just saying like, well, no, Folklore is the one with the collection of stories, I think that putting it just like that kind of discredits all the other albums, because you can say that exact thing about everything else. It's just that in this one, the atmosphere and the tone is just so consistent throughout all of them. I do appreciate that. I think this is the first Taylor Swift album where I've had this much ambiguity, and that's like showing, because there's a lot here, and there's a lot that you can go into and take from it, and it's tickling my brain a little bit more than some of her other projects have. Hoax.
My only one, my smoking gun, my eclipsed sun, this has broken me down. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. No other sadness in the world would do. My best laid plan, your sleight of hand, my barren land, I am ash from your fire. You knew the hero died, so what's the movie for? You knew it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart. You knew the password, so I let you in the door. You knew you won, so what's the point of keeping score? You knew it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart. But what you did was just as dark. There's sadness in the world would do.
All right, so that one, you know, it's another very slow song. So I guess as a, well, actually, no, I should put it like this. So we got one more track. That's the bonus track, and whether or not it's a bonus track, we tend to give a recap of the album before the last song, the last track on the album. It just kind of pumps up the last track of the album there for me. And effectively, you know, we're listening to the deluxe version here, so Hoax would effectively end the standard release of Folklore. So to give a little bit of a recap, you know, Hoax, for the song in and of itself, it's the slowest one, so it's definitely, you know, those are some easy ways to end an album, right? Just lay us back down. Yeah, you know, and it just goes on as part of this, you know, believing in somebody who's just gonna like let me down again, that kind of thing. But I can see why people really, really wanted me to get to this one, and I kind of already said it in that what song was that at the end of Peace, right? To where, you know, maybe that didn't go along with the traditional love triangle story, but there's enough here to kind of pull out and make connections, and it's general enough, but she's giving you enough detail to where, like, wait, does that connect here? Does that connect here? And this is just my experience. This is my first time listening to it. Maybe you've had other things come up to you, or you're just one of those people like, nope, whatever she says, that's the way I'm going to do it. There's no wrong way to folklore. I think, and that is much to Taylor's strength here, because I don't think there's a right or wrong way to folklore. I think this one had some of the best just flat out songwriting, because she could have done the easy thing and come out with another heavy pop album with, just as, personable lyrics or some great narratives. But this one, because, it was such a softer angle on things, the focus, I thought, was way more on the songwriting. So not only, I don't know if you call it brave or what, but I think it says a lot about an artist in the way that Reputation did, where it's like, okay, no, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm feeling, and this is how I want to say it. But, if we're looking at, what's like objectively better or worse, this one, I think this is, not to say that anything has been immature, but it goes along with how she's evolving and she's aging. This is the most, I think, mature and restrained approach she's taken on a project. And I say restrained, but it doesn't feel like she's like let anything go. I think she's resting on the laurels of what she knows works, and I think it's just like one of the most authentic projects that we've had from her. And I'm not saying that she's a fake snake or anything like that. All I'm saying is that I think that was the point to this. It was to be intimate and not only bring you into her life, but then to the world that she's kind of creating with this album. And if you want to say, like, as far as her consistent things, because as much as I think Red is justifiably celebrated and lauded as a great, work of hers, looking at like 1989 was like maybe the most consistent. This is right next to it, and I might even give this like maybe like the objective edge. Like, no, this is where she kind of cooked. Because even when it's like I said, the more general stuff really worked for me and led to some, they had like little ingredients for like maybe the overarching love triangle narrative. There was just a lot in here for me. There was just a lot in here for me that I really liked. Nicole says, honestly, the whole album was viewed more as a bunch of stories with characters when it was released, because we all thought that she was living her best life in London. But over the years, with the release of new songs, people have drawn connections that have revealed deeper meanings that aren't meant to be understood right away. Yeah, and, that's ultimately the fault of this format of content, right? I can almost see the YouTube comments now. Like, I don't know how you didn't get that. Well, you've obviously spent a little bit more time with this than I have. And also, if I'm not getting it right away, I think that lends way more credit to Taylor. I really do. And her vision and her team's vision for this project, I think it was the least hand-holdy. Not that you really needed to get your hand held in the rest of them. But this one, like, she's put this out for you to explore these little woods and for you to find your little gnomes or geocaches or I don't know. You could be, or maybe like the one guy I started following on Instagram. I can't remember the name. Maybe I'll credit him right here. I don't know. I probably I don't know. There's this guy on Instagram that like finds rocks and calls them dinosaur bones. Maybe this is your album for that. I don't know. It's for you to dive deep into. And also, let us not forget, if we're looking at the phrase folklore as an umbrella phase, through word of mouth or whatever the medium is for you to convey these stories, things get lost in translation. Interpretations get lost. So actually, the more I'm thinking, the more I'm saying shit about this, the deeper it's getting. The deeper it's getting. Barry says, I think it was really enjoyable watching you theorize and think about each song. Music is subjective and means something different to different people. And if we don't agree with the interpretations at times, doesn't mean that they are wrong. Well, it doesn't, but, then there is the other part of that to where, an artist will come out and say, like, no, this song is about this. And then, and then you get like, no, well, yeah, I guess I can't think anything differently, but I always can, when you're listening, you are like, and I always say this, especially, like I've done writing in the past, or like maybe like a little bit of music here and there, or even with, I think my main art medium was photography. I think that one took it, that one took the most hold for me. When you're creating something, and this is my personal opinion here, when you're creating something for an audience, once you put it out to the audience, it's not really yours anymore. Obviously, Taylor's masters are her masters as well. They should be. But it once it leaves and you allow people to look at it's kind of whatever it means to them, and there's not a ton you can do about it. I don't think that this was so much a reinvention of what she's done. I think she's dipped her toes into so many different things that I don't think that this was a reinvention. She's just like picking up like, okay, like we've done that in the past. Let's just kind of hone in on that. But if you want to look at it as a reinvention, I think it was a lot more graceful than Reputation was, even though Reputation, it's just so fun. It's definitely way more graceful in that regard. This is her most authentic album. I agree. Okay, so enough of me jabber-jawing. That section is going to be long in the YouTube video. Let's move on to the bonus track, The Lakes, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it romantic how all my elegies eulogize me? I'm not cut out for all these cynical clones, these hunters with cell phones. Take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. What should be over burrowed under my skin in heart-stopping waves of hurt. Take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. Those Windermere peaks look like a perfect place to cry. I haven't moved in years, and I want you right here. A red rose grew up out of ice-frozen ground, mountainable grief. Take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. Those Windermere peaks look like a perfect.
You know what I say about that one, folks? That is how you end this album. That is exactly how you end this album. Like, 10 out of 10. Right there. It was personal to her, but, like, given the art direction, given the vibe of the entire album, and it just, take it all back to go like, bro, this is too fucking much to me. I need to fuck off. I need to be right here. I need to be in the woods. Just, and that is how, so I'm glad that was on the bonus edition. I would say, like, my only complaint about this is that I feel as though some of the songs were a little long in the tooth, or could have sat down maybe, and maybe those should have been the bonus tracks instead of being on like the standard release. But I think that's where it kind of ends for me. It doesn't ruin anything. And it's not even that long. It's an hour and 7 minutes. That is perfectly fine. And you know, the standard release is probably even that much shorter, right? It's 3 minutes and 40 or however long that one is, right? 3.5 minutes shorter. Yeah, but that's it. For it being so slow, I thought it was paced just fine, and she gave us reason to kind of want to continue on just like with the narrative and like dropping little bits, making the connections. This one was fun. This one tickled my brain more than I think any of the other projects thus far. This is a top tier Taylor Swift album. It just is. I think this was where some of her best stuff came out. Do I think, I think on the whole, maybe the harder pop stuff suits her the best. But it's weird because it's like she did this so well, and then there's, just like the kick drums and synths and all that stuff. So it's really like, she exists on this like scale of like, okay, we're going to put a little bit more here, and now we're going to put a little bit more here, and again, a lot more graceful to kind of do. Not that like Lover was, I guess, no, I could say this is different on the whole from anything else she's done. I think as far as like, just like, wow, this is something from Taylor Swift. I think you get 1989, Reputation, and Folklore. It's really between 1989 and this. For I'm like, where did I have the most fun? Just because like, oh man, 1989's got such good songs. 1989's got like such good songs. This just goes to somebody in the chat. This just goes to show that you can't put her in a box. She can't be put in a box, ladies and gentlemen. She's got to be in the woods. This is where you are. And like I said, I think Reputation was a great way to show like you can't put me in a box. And I had a lot of fun with it, but I can definitely see why people maybe don't hold that album in as high regard or critical acclaim. But this one, I agree with this one. I happen to Folklore. Some people really love slow for the sake of slow. And I can, there's just some slow songs that I really love, and I get it, not to say like, no, I need 200 beats per minute punk rock to be happy. I'm not saying that at all. Like when we were doing our paid reaction streams, I was listening to some Cigarettes After Sex songs, and it's a vibe. I don't think that could ever be my daily driver. Maybe I let it sit in with me a little bit. I just can't do it all the time. Where I think Folklore does it because it's just like, this is an isolated incident. Now, we will get into Evermore. But until we get into Evermore, let me know what you thought about my takes down in the comments. And if you want to see this entire stream in one go, unedited, click the Patreon link down in the description. For $1 a month, you get this reaction and all the other ones that I've done and all the other ones that I am going to do. Make sure you look on my community tab page, or as a free member on the Patreon, you can see the next time I'm going live. With that said, I've been Jerry Bees. You've been awesome. Take it easy.
Diggity dog. Diggity dog.